And when I first read the Stoics, I was just like, shit, this is it. Like when I read Meditations for the first time, I was 19, I was sitting in my college apartment, and I was just like, not only have I never read anything like this, I've never even heard of anything like this. Because you have the most powerful man in the world writing notes to himself that he never thinks are going to be published. Like pretty much every other book ever written was like a writer writing to an audience.
Yeah.
And Meditations was never intended to be published. He'd probably be mortified that we even have it. And so it was just a kind of philosophy and a way of thinking that I hadn't heard in any school, in any class from any adult in my life. And I was like, I want to tell people about this.
Marcus Aurelius, one of the more interesting things about the stuff that he writes is how relevant it is today. Like when you read it, you wouldn't imagine that this is being written by a man. Like how many years ago was that?
1900, 2000 years ago. He's writing in like the mid 150s, 160s AD.
It's very relevant. Like the way he writes, the language is incredibly familiar. It's the same, It's one of the things about, we would always make fun of the way people talked a long time ago. Wherefore art thou? Like there's a way of talking that we don't communicate like today. But when Marcus Aurelius writes, and if you read Meditations, it seems very current.
Well, it does depend on the translation, right? Because like if you are reading, and people do this, is I'll recommend Marcus Aurelius and they'll just like, get what's free on the internet or whatever. If you're reading a translation from the 1850s or the 1600s, it's going to be in Shakespearean English because,
interesting,
right? Because they're translating it into their
vernacular.